Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. Oh my gosh, it is a beautiful day today. It is Sunday, August 23rd, just after noon out here in the desert, just after 3 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. And if you're out in the UK, what is it? Just after 8 p.m., something like that. Hope everyone has had an awesome weekend so far. Maybe you are in the Sunday scary part of your weekend if you are in the UK, and I hope that we can alleviate that and give you that little extra feeling of freedom before you have to go back to work and everything like that. Yeah, guys, just a chill Sunday horror hangout here. No agenda. Last time we talked about what we try to do here. For a while, it was just no agenda every week. And then rightly so, our lovely UK audience members who are like, look, dude, it's really cool that you go live for us once a week, but can we have can there be some direction every once in a while? And it's like, fair. That's very fair. Yes, it shouldn't just be aimless every time we've got a prime time for one of our audiences that we really love and appreciate. So yeah, we kind of bounce back and forth. Like last week, we talked about the X-Men casting and all that kind of stuff that went down at D23. We're going to be mixing in stuff like watch parties, trivias, all sorts of fun stuff like that. I think we did one of our, didn't we do one of our script writings or something like that? Guys, it all just kind of gets jumbled together, so don't hate me if I can't remember exactly when, get out of here, fruit fly, exactly when whichever stream was, at whatever time. This fly is going to be my best friend the whole time, just this tiny little guy. But yeah, guys, Sundays are going to be kind of a mixture of just chilling out. For me, it's nice to have a stream once a week or once every once in a while that really is just sort of not that I just turn my brain off, but that I don't have to pre-plan an agenda, right? And then sometimes we plan a chill Sunday horror hangout and something pops up and I'm like, well, I'm going to work that in. We'll still have a chill hangout, but I'll work something in, And then, I mean, really what's cool for me is you guys know that I love sharing the space with you, love sharing the platform with you. Sometimes we're in the middle of either watching a movie, discussing an anniversary of a movie, and off-topic things come through the chat, and I might just miss those or not acknowledge them so we can kind of stay on task. These chill hangouts, they're the perfect time to just say whatever. Well, you got a question for me about, maybe there's some movie that you're like, man, I asked him about this movie, I don't know, or he never said anything, or you've just been waiting, or maybe there's a band you really like and you're like, well, Davey really likes music. Yeah, I really like music. Guys, no joke, if I had to pick between music and movies, I would pick music. It wouldn't even be that difficult. That's how important music is to me in my life. Now, I love film, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that I have that I don't look down on film in any sort of way or anything like that. Film to me it's so much more relatable as far as us being able to talk about it on this space. You know what I mean? Music is you got to get in the car. Hop in the car, let's take a drive, let's go 3 songs each back and forth. That's the way you got to do music. It doesn't really work on YouTube, and mostly because of rights issues and copyrights and things that are legitimate. Musicians shouldn't just have their stuff thrown out there without any sort of compensation and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, you can ask me about music, you can ask me about comics, you can ask me about sports. Prince, if you're in the chat, dude, I saw you asking me about the NFL, but yesterday we were watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning from 2006. So in the middle of a live watch party for Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning from 2006, I won't be talking about the NFL. Probably not, anyways. But this is the perfect time to ask me about football. I'm a huge... Guys, my nerddom really knows no bounds. Anything that I find interesting, I will get nerdy about. Sharks, comics, sports. I mean, a lot of sports, but particularly football, baseball, hockey, video games, movies, music. And with movies, it's not just horror, guys. I'm a massive fan of, we all have our favorites, but I'm just a fan of the art form. Same with music. I'm mostly a punk guy. Pop punk, metal. I mean, really just if it's derivative from rock and roll, or if rock and roll derived from it, then I'm probably going to dig it, just depending on whatever. So anywho, I've been blah, blah, blahing enough. I'm going to say what's up to you guys. Hope you're all having a great one. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comments. Maybe there's something you want to ask me about, or maybe I say something here where you're like, dude, opinion is way off. Let me tell you about mine. There you go. Perfect spot for it. If you dig what we do here and you're watching after the fact, hit the hype button. It's a great way for the channel to grow. I would like to get to 5,000 subscribers as quickly as possible. I was hoping that we were going to be able to reach that this year because we kicked off the year with such a bang. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that went on behind the scenes that I've briefly mentioned here before on the channel that just sort of derailed some things. So yeah, hit the subscribe, share the channel, all that good stuff. I'm going to see what you guys are up to. What's happening, Lamontre? Welcome on in. Hope you're very well. We got Miss Paula Fitzhenry, one of our great channel members. Guys, the other night, I guess Paula was accidentally hid from on the channel from one of the moderators. I did not see it in the chat and no one said anything about it. So unfortunately, Paula wasn't able to join us on the YouTube side of things yesterday. And it's really sad because Paula's such a great member of the community. She's a channel member. It was an honest mistake, Paula. I know we'd already, guys, Paula and I have talked about it offline and everything like that. Paula, I just wanted to publicly acknowledge it just so everyone knows what's going on. And I'm so sorry. It's every now and then, because of latency with internet, somebody might click something and they go to click one thing and the screen jitters. It seriously happens on YouTube and on StreamYard all the time with me. So anyways, I'm sorry about that, Paula. We got Mr. Super Tenor, another one of our great channel members, and it was Mr. Super Tenor's birthday yesterday, so give Aaron some belated birthday love, everyone. We got Noah Alliston. Yeah, I should have worn the Brain Dead shirt, huh? I went with Halloween instead. But the Brain Dead shirt is just right in the closet. It's a good one. I'd still love a hat that says Brain Dead, or, I mean, preferably I'd like a hat that says Dead Alive, because that's what we call it here in the States. But Brain Dead is a great name, and technically Brain Dead is technically the name of the movie. I'll allow Peter Jackson to name his own movie. We got Christine hanging out. How are you doing, Christine? So good to see you. We got see it just happened, guys. I went to click on Tia's thing and the thing jittered just a little bit after I let go of the bar. So see, it happens. We got Miss Tia Nina, one of our fantastic channel members. Hope you're doing so well, Tia. Tia, are you going to join me for Tales from the Crypt later? I sure hope so. We got Dot. What's happening, Dot? Hope you're doing very, very well. Or Albie. I think Albie's kind of nice, but whenever I hear the name Albie now, I think of the bellhop from Hokum. Have you guys seen Hokum? Let me know if you've seen Hokum. Just tell me in the chat. And I need the name of the movie. If you just say yes or no, I won't know what you're talking about. So like a thumbs up with Hokum or a thumbs down. And it's not whether you liked it or not. Just like, I've seen it, I haven't seen it. I'm just very curious because I think it's easily the best horror movie of 2026. So I would say if you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Hollywood Lito, another one of our great channel members. What's happening, Lito? How was The Shining outdoors? I'm very curious. And in the summer, interesting. Did you feel a chill in the air in the waning moments of the film? I'm curious to know. We got Jen Warner in the house. What's happening, Jen? Hope you're doing so very well. Welcome on in, one of our great channel members. Jen, it's great to see you. I know you can't make it to every live, or at least I don't always see you in the chat, but it's always a pleasure having you join us. And of course, anytime a channel member can make a stream, I love hanging out with the channel members. We got the Fantastic Oracle. What's happening, Fantastic? What's going on, gang? Yes, gang, not game. They both work, right? They both work. We got Smith's Grove Sanitarium, 69 days until Halloween. Nice. You know what I mean? That's what's up. Guys, if you don't follow Smith's Grove on Insta, you should. A lot of really cool interaction at conventions and Spirit Halloween stores. The icon that you see there, I mean, look at how good the cosplay is. That is a beautiful Michael mask. That is no doubt, you cannot buy a Michael mask like that from a store. You have to buy it from somebody that makes them, or you buy one and ship it off to somebody to do their work, because the shading on these custom Michael masks, or maybe you did it yourself, Smith's Grove. I don't want to assume. But I think we've talked about it before in the offline and everything, and I'm pretty sure it was somebody who does this. But the way they work with the shading, the way they dull the color of the mask, they make it look even better just in normal lighting. They give it some of that character that you notice from the Dean Cundy lighting, they're able to provide that character through the way that they augment the mask. So that way, even when you're under the bright fluorescent lights of a convention hall or the shining sunlight that comes through those big convention hall windows, his mask still looks great. And I'll give him this too. He's maintains a really good physique. So a very good looking Michael Myers, as far as like very true to what you would picture when you close your eyes and think of Michael. Yeah, very good stuff. My live stream did not load. You know, every now and then you just have to reload the screen. You know what I mean? Sometimes it happens that way. Yeah. Yeah, what's happening, UK peeps? The last movie I saw in the theaters, Christine, was The End of Oak Street. Oh, God, I got to get that taste out of my mouth. That movie was bad. I mean, it's not like you can watch The End of Oak Street and it's like Oak Street. And I think it's like I said in my review, you can check it out. It's just a short. I don't spoil anything, but it's a turn your brain off twice kind of movie. Like, you got to turn your brain off. You got to turn the backup off. I'm not saying you're dumb if you enjoyed it without doing that. I'm just saying that I think it's that kind of movie for me. And I think it's the kind of movie that, like, don't think about the script. Don't think about what the characters are doing, because it makes movies like Independence Day and all of those Roland Emmerich, like Day After Tomorrow movies. It's kind of like those movies, you know, where it's like, oh, this is just happening because like it has to happen for the next part of the movie to happen. You know, like, it doesn't really make sense that anyone would do this, but they want the next thing to happen, so that's how it's going to go. You know, really dumb stuff. Like, remember in Day After Tomorrow, remember when they're like running away from the cold and they're in like the New York Public Library or whatever. They're running away from the cold and it's like chasing them down a hallway, and they get into like the main library room or whatever it is, and they like close the double like giant doors and the cold stops. It's like the door stops temperature. Like, yes, it's a cataclysmic event where like an ice age is happening on Earth, but you closed those two doors. So, hey, nature's got to abide. Like, shit like that is in The End of Oak Street. Like a lot of shit like that is in that movie where you're just like, what? Yeah, X-Men is my favorite too, Fantastic Oracle. I think it's not even close to. I think the X-Men are the top tier, and it'll be interesting to see how Marvel handles all that, because the Avengers in the films have been treated like top tier. I don't think they've ever been that in the comics. If they have, it's because they've been lifted up by teams like the X-Men. You know, stuff like Civil War. It's so funny they did Civil War in the movies. For those of you that haven't dabbled in the comics, or, you know, whatever. In Civil War, it's really interesting the way that they told that story and told it without the X-Men, because the X-Men are such a huge part of Civil War. Like, Civil War doesn't happen if there's not like mutant registration is where it all comes from. That's where it all stems from, is mutant registration, and then it turns into registration of anyone with superpowers, or imprisoning people, anyone with superpowers. Like, but it all started with the mutant X gene and the prejudice and the, you know, the marginalization of the mutant population in the Marvel world. So without the X-Men, you don't have Civil War. So it's funny that they just ended up doing it with like, they're like, it's going to be so sad when like 5 people get locked up, is sort of like what Civil War seems to be about. When these 5 people that we know get locked up, it's going to be so sad. But in the comics, it was so much more consequential and so much more divisive because there were more characters involved. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, Asha dropping a 10-pound super chat. Asha, thank you so very much, man. Really do appreciate it. I appreciate the love. I just adore hanging out with you guys from the UK. You know, I mean, really, it's amazing the fact that we have people that watch us from, I mean, Prince watches from the Philippines. We have people from New Zealand, Australia, all over, you know. And when we talk about Stranger Things, India and everywhere else, you know. So great to see you, man. Thank you for dropping the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Who's the craziest horror celeb I've ever met? Craziest. What do you mean? Noah, I'm going to follow up with you. What do you mean by craziest? I'm going to star that chat so I don't forget it. But what exact craziest, like most energetic and zany, crazy like they were so friendly I could hardly believe it, crazy like they were a dick. I want to know, what kind of crazy are we talking about? Fun crazy or like, ooh, crazy? Because I imagine William Forsythe would actually be a really fun kind of crazy. I love his energy, especially, I mean, even though I don't like the script from Rob Zombie's Halloween, the guy performs the hell out of those lines. He does a great job. I don't like what's on the page, but fuck, William Forsythe is amazing in that movie. And then I adore him so much in Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo. He's so good in that first Deuce Bigalow movie. I know I've seen him in other stuff, and I'm sorry, William, if I'm missing some things, but I love William Forsythe as a performer. And then I don't think this is a relative of his. Maybe I don't believe it's his father, but John Forsythe, who's an older actor that was in, 50s, 60s movies. He's actually in a Mystery Science Theater movie called Kitten with a Whip with Anne Margaret, actually. Really bad movie. Well, a really good idea, poorly told, and I think they could remake it really well. In fact, like they sort of do with that, like Knock Knock is sort of like Kitten with a Whip in a way, a little bit of a difference, but not much, like a similar vibe. But John Forsythe was in that film. He's also in Scrooged. He plays what's his face? Damn it. He plays Bill Murray's former boss that comes back and visits him as a ghost and all that stuff. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the character right now for the life of me. But yeah, the whole Forsythe group, great stuff. We got, let's see here. Did I miss Evil Alex? Welcome on in. Hope you're doing very well there. Paula Fitzhenry dropping a $5 super chat. Paula wants a second hour, and oh my gosh, it looks like we reached that goal already. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you so very much. I think Oingo Boingo is great, Noah. I think they're really fun. I really enjoy Danny Elfman's musical brain and the places that it goes. And even if not every song hits with me, I think there's like an adventurousness in his choice of melody. He seems to want to go places no one's ever gone melodically and rhythmatically. And I love hearing a musician where I'm like, they took these core ideas that are at the most simplest of levels, very catchy and very accessible. And then everything he puts around that little foundation of accessibility is very strange and weird and sort of abstract. And so I think that's a really cool combination. There's a core of pop sensibility there, but everything else is like kind of batshit. And I mean that in the best way possible. Oingo Boingo is fantastic. I don't think we would have gotten bands like the Aquabats or Real Big Fish without bands like Oingo Boingo. Yeah, the really fun side of third wave ska, I don't think we would have gotten it. I still think like Bosstones and all that stuff, like obviously Bosstones started in like 84, 85, I think is when the band was founded. So they're right around that time. So I don't look at to me, the Bosstones are still the originators of third wave ska, because Oingo Boingo they had a ska bit to them, but Bosstones brought in like fully distorted guitar and punk rock sensibilities, whereas Oingo Boingo has a lot of movement and very kinetic energy, but I don't feel a punk rock blending. I feel like it's more like the Specials, but like very souped up, even better than the Specials. I have a tough time with second wave ska. But yeah, Oingo Boingo, fantastic. There is a Danny Elfman track called Happy that he put out during like COVID or whatever. Oh my God, it is crazy. Watch the music video for it. It's crazy. What's happening, King Henry? Welcome on in, man. So great to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. It seems like it's been a little bit. Hope you're doing very well, bud. They'll do that. Yeah, for sure. They will. Will Shadur Sanders lead the Browns to a Super Bowl? No, I don't think he will. I would be surprised if he really gets a chance there to start. Yeah, I think Shadur has some very serious detriments in his game, unfortunately. I'm not saying I could play any better, but I'm saying that I think I think he was coddled a little bit by his father. I think Dion's an amazing player and everything, but I think there's some hubris there. It happens when family members are so intertwined with someone's professional career. regardless of what the profession is. But here there's just such a spotlight on it, and people have been talking about Shedeur since he was in high school because he's Deion Sanders' son, and at the high school level he absolutely excelled. However, when he got to Colorado, and I didn't watch too much of his Jackson State career before going over to Colorado. They just don't televise a lot of Jackson State games. The HBCUs, the historically black colleges and universities, I don't see them much on TV because they're typically a lower division as far as the competition level goes for college sports. That's just the way it goes because college sports, like a lot of things in this world, are run by money. So the more money you have, the better you can compete, and the better you can compete, the higher in division you're going to be. So, but when I saw Shedeur go over to Colorado, I just, there's a little bit of a weakness of arm, an unwillingness to get rid of the ball when he has to, and I just don't know if everything is there. There is a level of intelligence that you also have to have when you play the quarterback position. And the higher you go, the steeper that climb is. And the climb from college to NFL for every quarterback is incredibly steep. And if you watched college and NFL for, a couple decades, you've seen plenty of times where people have looked so amazing in college. Like, you don't even really see the flaws in college. And then they get to the NFL and it's like, oh, but without a perfect team around them, they don't look so good. And I think you can kind of run into that with somebody like Shedeur. You just notice the fact that, oh, he's not a 5-star talent in this and this. There are a couple very important attributes that he's like a 3.5, and being a 3.5 at the NFL level is not always good enough. But if the Browns put together a really great line and he's actually able to have time and develop and get better, which I do think is possible, and I do see it happen in the NFL, then I think it's possible. But the Browns have never been to a Super Bowl. So King Henry, I'm just going to err on the side of like Shedeur Sanders probably isn't going to get them there. But I do think, I do think it's possible for there to be improvement there. I just think sometimes the insulation and the fact that his dad is saying that he's better than I think a lot of people are willing to admit that he is. I think that maybe Shedeur, it's not that he needs humility, but it's more like, you just got to put your head down and work really hard and forget about the fact that you're Deion Sanders' son. And then maybe you tell your dad to just like, Dad, can you just go coach your own team and let me handle this like a man? I think it would actually like do pretty well for Shedeur to just like kind of have that attitude, McConaughey shouted so loud in Zellweger's eardrum he caused permanent damage on TCM Next Generation. Yeah, that scene, I think you're talking that dinner scene there, that is brutal. I even said didn't I say, guys, during the watch party, I said something about like, I hope she had an earplug in. I mean, I've had somebody shout in my ear, fighting with my ex, like she was terrible about that stuff. And it like hurt so bad. You feel like this wobble in your head after. What's happening, Gav? Welcome on in, man. Hope you're doing very, very well. The band you've shown me, Yumi and Everyone We Know, is my new obsession, and the songs by them called Dirty Laundry and There Was a Thump, and then another are brilliant and well written. Thank you so much, Asha. Yeah, Yumi and Everyone We Know, they're pretty fun. They started out being kind of like dancey, like Quincy Jones meets emo pop punk kind of vibe. Very dancey. That first EP they did, it reminds me of Michael Jackson in a lot of ways. Yeah, man, they put out a record called Things Are Really Weird right now, I think. Yeah. And that record's really good and sounds totally different. They were a band that like evolved as they went on. Let's see who else we got going on here. We got Miss Liz. How are you doing, Liz? Hope you're doing very well. Are you going to go live later on today? I sure hope so. I was super busy yesterday and only got to pop in for a minute there. Yeah, guys, if you haven't subscribed to Liz's channel and you like gaming streamers, then give her channel a shot. Let's see what else we got going on here. Aaron Click in the house. What's happening, Aaron? Great to see ya. Love Tales from the Crypt. Well, we've been watching the TV shows, Noah. So we've been going through. We just started season 2 last week. So guys, just so you know, on the Discord, which is totally free to hang out at, there's a link in the description, so you can join us over there. Every Sunday, unless I let you know otherwise, if something pops up, every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern, we watch, like, I think so far we've done like 2 or 3 episodes. I think 3 episodes both times. So we just, go through the Tales from the Crypt TV show because it's on Tubi now. And I watch Tubi through the Brave browser, so we don't have to watch any commercials. It skips right past the commercials. And yeah. Demon Knight's a great movie, though, Noah. We'll probably hit up the movies at some point, but right now we're just doing the show. Hell yeah. So Taya's seen Hokum. Asha thought it was boring. All right. Dot hasn't seen it. Gavin hasn't seen it. Yeah, it's gonna be boring if you're there for blood, if you're there for like tons of action. Yes, it is a folklore horror movie, and specifically a small cast Irish folklore. So it's very much on the mood and the atmosphere and the impending doom and the layers being pulled back on the story and the characters simultaneously. So you're learning more about the characters as you're learning more about the story. To me, I think Damien McCarthy is just, it's a masterclass in writing. Caveat, Oddity, and Hokum, I think he just gets better every time, and I think all of them have been pretty damn good and different enough for me to say this guy is an up-and-comer. To me, I think Damien McCarthy is one of the best auteurs, and I don't mean... sometimes when you hear the word auteur, you're like, sometimes I think people just sort of use it as like they replace it with or they think that it means like a very serious artist, you know what I mean, like that has a vision, because it sort of has those connotations the way people use it. But strictly what I mean, because I think we use it incorrectly sometimes. I think we say like, like this person is an auteur. Like I'm gonna think of, I have an example in my head, but I don't want to like bring it up, be incorrect in it. Let's see here. Okay, gotcha. I was gonna say Martin Scorsese. He does have co-writing credit, but specifically what we mean when we, what the word auteur means is that it's the person that wrote it and directed it. That it's like pretty much their singular vision. And I think Damien McCarthy is a super bright spot there as far as filmmakers that do that go. Tia's not seen it either. You should check it out, Tia. I mean, if you like, kind of slow burn folklore horror, yeah. Oingo Boingo, yeah, they're great Halloween music for sure. I'm so glad you were still able to enjoy it on the Facebook side, Paula. Thank you so much. I'm so happy, and thank you for letting me know. I would have had no idea because no one said anything to me. So I went into the mod chat yesterday. I was like, did this happen? Because like, what happened there? Nice, Aaron. Hell yeah. My husband and I have been watching Tales from the Crypt on Tubi. It's been fun. Yeah, we just got into season 2 last week, so I'm looking forward to returning to it. What's happening, Gory? Welcome on in. Christine says Hokum is great. Love to see it. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's been on YouTube for years, but not good quality. So it's cool that on Tubi, it's like the real deal. The real deal. Want a remake of Wishmaster with a hard R rating? It would be cool to see Wishmaster come back. Yeah. Hey, what's happening, Shane? Welcome on in, man. Hope you're doing awesomely. Looking jacked as ever. I hope the summer's been great for you and yours, man. We got Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. What's happening, Corey? Guys, if you haven't subbed over at Wilkie's Movies and Music, give him a sub. Our guy's working on getting to those monetization numbers before YouTube kicks in the new standard here in January of 2027. And Corey does a lot of stuff. The gaming streams, kind of chill, middle of the week kind of chilled things like what we're doing right here, where it's just sort of letting you guys have free reign, which is awesome. He's got panels, talking a lot of physical media, music, all that kind of stuff. So if you're into that and you just like good people, go ahead and sub on over to Wilkie's Movies and Music. I'm pissed because my theater is like a small town theater, so it doesn't get everything. Really want to see teenage sex and death at Camp Miasma. Gav, how far are you from a bigger city? Gav, you're in New Jersey, right? Is that right? Or are you in Pennsylvania? Why would I even think that? I'm pretty sure you're in Jersey. I mean, you don't have to tell me exactly. I get it. Like, I'm not trying to out people on where they live, but the only reason why I ask is I'm like, well, if you're in Jersey, it might kind of suck you know, maybe you have to drive like an hour or so. I don't, you know, depending on where you are, but I'd imagine there's got to be a cool big old Cineplex somewhere. I mean, and I just bring it up because where I live, everything's so spread out. Like my closest theater is a half hour with no traffic. You know, just if everything goes my way, 25 minutes. If I hit every light, 25 minutes, you know, each way. So like, it's just one of those things that where, you know, sometimes I'm just sort of, I'm resigned to it at this point where like there are times when I have to drive 45 minutes or an hour to get to the theater that has the movie that I want to see. It's ridiculous. Haven't seen Hokum or Obsession or Backrooms. Oh, damn. Yeah, I mean, I would say out of those, Hokum is like far and away the best movie out of those three. Like, I think Obsession's good. I've only seen it once, though. It hasn't really given me... I think I got everything I needed from it at the time. I will revisit it, but I didn't feel like I had to go back and check it out again. When I went back and checked out Hokum, I was like, oh my... It's even better the second time, guys. It's amazing. Even better the second time. Yeah, Dean Cundy knows how to make a movie look good. He sure does, yes. Stroke Street. Ow! Yeah, Oak Street was really rough. It was, you know, I hate it the more and more I think about it. Anne Hathaway does such a good job acting in that movie, but her character is like absolute trash in that movie. The way the character's written. Had to step out for a second, so your responses. Have not seen Hokum. Shining at Sugar Mint Gallery was fun. Huge crowd. Hell yeah. Sugar Mint Gallery, isn't that right? Wait. Lido, is that the spot that's just right around the corner from where they put the Myers house? Isn't that right there off the train tracks there in South Pass? I have the feeling it's just like 2 houses in, I think, if I'm thinking of the same spot. Sold my lawn tickets and bought $360 seats for Rob Zombie on Wednesday. Way better view, so some things to go good for me. Wow, damn. All right, Rob Zombie. Who's he bringing on tour with him? Yeah. Question, why are there ads in my live streams? Because I spend a lot of time doing this on YouTube. I spend, you know, dozens of hours every week doing YouTube. And I spend a lot of time doing live streams, Gene. So I... you know, got to the point where I've not been monetizing them at all for a really long time. And so I got to the point where I was like, well, I don't think it's the worst thing here for me to, you know, if I can control when the commercials go and all that kind of stuff, then I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for there to be one commercial every half hour. Now, right when you tune in, you might get your first commercial, but then you're not going to get one for a half hour. I don't control when those happen. But I do tell YouTube how often they can happen. So they shouldn't be happening more than once every half hour for you guys. Now, if you back out or close your app and get back in, it might reset for you. I don't know. But yeah, I spend a lot of time doing this. And, you know, since I spend a lot of time live and I don't spend, you know, that's all time I could be spending on pre-recorded stuff that is, you know, a bit more lucrative when it comes to like ad money and all that kind of stuff. So I just figure, well, I'm going to, you know, if I'm live for 2 hours and you have to sit through a minute's worth of commercials because you could probably just skip them after 15 seconds. I really don't think that's the worst thing in the world. But yeah, they're in there because I put them in there. I will take full credit and all that. Just watched Dolly last night. I don't know what people saw in that movie because it wasn't very good. It had a cool look. The 16mm look was cool. But also I was like, what the fuck is this movie? Also, this movie looks like a bad version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Last outdoor movie of the summer is she's getting ready for the annual Haddonfield exhibit that opens September 12th. That's the one I always play Michael for. So she and I have become good friends. Hell yeah. End of Oak Street is dog shit. They really should have connected it to the Cloverfield. Dude, even if they did that, it's dog shit. Like, I don't want it connected to anything decent at all. It is like this. It's like we want to be part Jurassic Park and part Back to the Future. And we're just going to do them both terribly. Terribly. Again, Denise is an awful mother and a terrible wife. It is like, yeah. And the movie tries to trick you into thinking it's the opposite. And then the further deeper, like a couple days after watching it, I was like, dude, she is the fucking worst. Hokum or End of Oak Street. Yeah, and I go pretty much once a week. It's funny, before the stream today, guys, I was thinking, man, it's been about, like, the End of Oak Street was the last one I've seen. Joe invited me to go see a movie earlier this week, but I had plans to go see my girlfriend, and you know, we just don't get to see each other very much. So it's like, you know, I have to take advantage of those opportunities, obviously. And so I just haven't seen anything. I want to see the Matthew McConaughey movie that's out there that Cody Leach has been touting. If that's still in the theaters, like that's one that I've got to see either tonight or try to see tomorrow. So yeah, I get the itch when I'm like, I haven't seen a movie in like a week. Sometimes even like if I go into a bunch in a row, after like 3 or 4 days, I'm like, oh man, I need to get back to the theater. I turn into fucking Tyrone Biggums. It is a fun movie. It is a fun movie. I think it's okay to say that they're fun, but also pretty dumb. And I would say Oak Street is even dumber. But it still has fun stuff that happens. There are the, oh my gosh, that's cool moments. How are you doing, Gina? We got my chunky Jordy in the house joining us. One of our amazing channel members for like since day one. So thank you so very much, Gina. I love seeing our UK folks jumping in to these Sunday streams here. Yeah, you know, and the trailer makes it look fun, and the trailer makes it look a bit more on the horror side. It's a movie just filled with plot conveniences, and I would say, like, you know, take your 12-year-old or something, and you guys are gonna have a great time, you know. End of Oak Street was fun. I went in knowing it had a lot of stupid things. There you go. There you go. And I had heard about all that stuff, and so I was still able to enjoy certain moments. But even certain moments I enjoyed, then they were undercut by like, why the fuck are we doing this now as a result of that? I think what really frustrated me, Aaron, is like there are more than one time in that movie where they barely survive a deadly attack from a very aggressive dinosaur or a group of very aggressive dinosaurs. And for whatever reason, the dinosaurs like run away, or the people just like turn the corner, and it's like everything just stops. Everything's fine now, and we can like rejoice that we got away. We can shout at each other. We can hug each other and talk about our feelings. And it's like we're still in the same exact area where we just survived a deadly attack. Imagine a George Romero movie, a zombie movie, where you do something dumb like that. That shit just drove me up the wall. It drove me up the wall. Just at least get behind 4 walls before you start hugging each other and celebrating. Oh, I want them to stay away from that one. Yeah, don't let the MCU touch my Ninja Turtles. Fuck that shit. Sorry, Noah. Fuck that shit. I don't trust Disney, guys. Like, they might get it right every now and then. I don't trust them. Like, I am very worried about X-Men with Disney. I'm very worried about it. Like, I think it could be great. I think the X-Men have all the potential in the world. I think it's the best comic book, like, character franchise ever. And I think Fox did more good than not with X-Men. But they do have some bad X-Men movies over there at Fox. I am so worried about how the MCU is going to do it, because I don't know if Disney's learned their lesson yet. You know, they've got some harsh lessons to learn about the way they treat their audience and the way they treat the built-in fan base. They really do. They really do. And more so, it's about the way they communicate with them and the stories that they tell. You know, and just being respectful to source material as much as you can. Fans understand that source material will be changed. That's just part and parcel of, you know, bringing it from the page to the screen, is that certain things are going to change. Days of Future Past, they make huge changes in Days of Future Past, the film. And I think the film works very well because, yeah, the fans of the X-Men movies want to see Wolverine go back in time. They don't want to see Kitty Pryde go back in time. They don't want that at all. You know, they're not familiar with the character of Kitty Pryde the way they are with Wolverine. So it's like those changes are okay when you make them. But I think really like just being more respectfully communicative with the fans would be huge. And you know, by communicative, I also mean like listening to the criticism and not just casting the criticism aside as something that's you know, based out of hatred or something like that. So yeah, I'm worried. I don't want the Ninja Turtles to be grabbed by Disney. Let's see here. Oh, somebody was like a dick. Kane Hodder. Yeah, Kane Hodder was a total dick to me. I paid $80 for a signature of his. I didn't get the selfie. He was drinking whiskey at his table, and he was an absolute dick to me. Yeah. We got Shannon from Talking Star Wars. How are you doing, Shannon? Welcome on in, one of our great channel members. $5 super chat from Paula Fitzhenry says, what did you think of Spider-Man Brand New Day? Did I not ever do a review for that? I might not have. Guys, did I even do one? I don't even know. Because sometimes I do short reviews and sometimes I don't. Did I talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day? I did. Paula, I absolutely will tell you right now what I thought about it. But if you want to check out my short, I would appreciate the engagement as well. So you can check out my short review. There might be something in the short that I would forget to say here or not mention here. But I'll give you my really quick review. I thought Spider-Man Brand New Day was really good. I think it's maybe the best Spider-Man movie I've seen in the last, since Spider-Man 2, probably. And I think the big reason for that is Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. I really liked that. I really liked the parallel of what Peter was going through. Like, they're paralleling what he's going through and what Jean is going through. And they're both very different experiences, but they do have like this similar trajectory that then has them intersecting at the end. I really enjoyed that part of the storytelling element. I thought it was interesting that they don't really, there's kind of a human enemy here, but he's not the final boss kind of energy that we usually get from like the enemy when we think about these comic book movies. However, they are setting this character up to be a bigger part of the X-Men world because he's a massive part about with mutant registration and more importantly and I'm going to talk spoilers because the movie has made $2 billion and it's been out for like a month. So if you haven't seen it yet, it seems to me you're probably not interested in ever seeing it. But the inhibitor chip that Peter creates in Spider-Man Brand New Day is sort of going to retroactively make him a villain. It gives him a little bit of that Tony Stark villain vibe where it's like, you weren't actually a villain, but the things you developed are now being appropriated by people who are using them for villainous purposes. And it seems like Peter was sort of led along and tricked into creating this inhibitor chip, that the whatever, I can't remember the name of the group that's dealing with all the, trying to suppress people with superpowers. But it's, he basically played into their hand. And those inhibitor chips are going to be part of the collars that mutants have to wear on Genosha. I think they're going to go to Genosha. Who knows if they're going to call it that, but I think we're headed that way with the mutants, is that we're going to see the yellow and red collars, especially if they do Mr. Sinister, which they are. We're going to see those collars, I think. So I really like Spider-Man Brand New Day. I thought it was really good. Love the Michael Giacchino score. Anytime Michael Giacchino's doing the music, and yes, that is the way you pronounce his name. I looked up the pronunciation and listened to it because I am not of Italian descent. So when I see that name, it looks like it's a Giacchino or something like that. But it is pronounced Giacchino. It's interesting, yeah, Giacchino. At least according to what I found. Let's see here. Item sign Raising Arizona instead of my Firefly trilogy. Oh, hell yeah. With William Forsythe. I took the summer off to recover from surgery, says Jen. Next Saturday, I start back at the Dinner Detective Murder Mystery Dinner Theater. Hell yeah, Jen. Well, I'm so happy to hear. It sounds like recovery has gone well. That's great to hear. And, nothing better than getting back into the swing of things that you're used to, right? I think, it helps all of us when we do the things that we feel called to do or the things that we really enjoy to do. It just sort of lifts up our spirits and, it feels good to be driven with purpose, right? And I think, being around colleagues, being around people you can be creative with and that sort of space sounds like a damn fun time. Thank you so much for the 5, Jen. I really do appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for being a channel member. Now I'm wondering which sort of trivia is the fascinating trivia, because I don't know, because you might be referencing, gosh, something I was talking about 25 minutes ago and my brain is already like, yeah, I mean, if it's a cataclysmic change in worldwide global temperature that brings on an ice age, I just don't see the ice stopping at the door. I mean, it's just going to go underneath and through the cracks and then it's just going to be in the room, right? I can't believe it. It's crazy, Liz. It's crazy. These people are amazing. You guys are absolutely, the support is incredible, guys. I can't, I try to talk about it every time. I'm so thankful for it. I would do this if it weren't there. I just I love hanging out with you guys so much, and I appreciate that you all are into spending a little more time with me and with one another, of course. Over stuff with characters, I think I could see. Yeah, we don't need Hulk and we don't need Punisher, for sure. You could get those guys out of the movie. I think we'd be fine, for sure. Especially if the Punisher isn't going to be like punishing people. It's funny. His most consequential thing. I won't spoil exactly what it is, but his most consequential thing is like the biggest character mistake in the entire movie. I guess other than Peter creating the inhibitor chip, but Peter doesn't know at the time. But the Punisher should know the thing that he does towards the end of the movie. It's like, bro. Zach says, just popping in to say hello. Last Saturday, I went and saw Super Troopers 3. I thought it was pretty great. I caught Super Troopers 3 as well. I enjoyed that one. Yeah, I did. I've been asked to make a ska playlist and need help. I'm not that big into it, but I like it. Okay. Liz, I don't know. I feel like there's probably a little bit of a difference in age with us. You seem to be younger than me. I was when I was 94, 95 is when like the third wave really started like coming back. Like even before the Bosstones broke, when they put out the album Let's Face It, and the impression that I get became like probably a top 10 Billboard hit at that time. It might have even been top 5. That song was fucking huge and everywhere. Like my pet band in my Juneau, Alaska fucking high school, 30,000 person town in Alaska, our pet band worked that into the routine. Like along with like the beat from the Go-Go's as like, that's the song that when I think of a high school team breaking through the little paper circle and doing their warm-ups, I hear that. That whole beat thing, So yeah, it just got huge then. But even before that, there was like Goldfinger. I remember hearing Goldfinger's first self-titled record before all that. And then you can go back to like the 80s. There's like Operation Ivy was like, third wave ska, 87 to 89. Obviously the Bosstones started in 85. So they were a band for about 10 years before they popped. But there's a whole bunch of good stuff from that era. Suicide Machines, Buck 09, Five Iron Frenzy is really good. They're my favorite third wave ska band, my favorite ska band of all time. Yeah, there's some good stuff out there. Real Big Fish. It's going terribly, Dot. It's going terribly. Life has just been so much busier than I had anticipated, and I'm so very behind. Can you guys help me out during spooky season? Can we get a little crazy with it? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Yeah, it's so funny. They have like the same last name, no relation at all. I knew that they weren't father-son. I just didn't know if there was a relation, yeah. Oh, let's see what else we got here. Oh, was he Charlie? I'm showing my age too by talking about Scrooged and Kitten with a Whip. Oh, Sublime does some third wave ska too. Yeah, they do some third wave ska. They do punk rock. Yeah, Sublime just played in my neighborhood last weekend. Didn't go because I haven't listened. Yeah. What about the Funk Junkies? You guys ever listen to the Funk Junkies? Oh my God, that record, I think it's their second record called Injected. I love that record. Yeah. You can also bug me too. If you want, Liz, I'll throw out some ska banger bands that I really dig, and you can kind of pick through their catalog and find something you like. Hey, what's happening there, Wicked Pinto? Toss in that with the revenue distribution deals in college sports, there's no reason to pursue pride, only money. Yeah, well, and I do think the players should be compensated. I think NCAA kind of screwed up by not setting up rules for the NIL. I think that was the thing, is like letting it be like truly wild, wild west. It doesn't seem like that's been very good for like the programs. Especially the smaller programs. Because they'll bring in talent, and then that talent will be seen by bigger schools, and the bigger schools will just offer more money, and there's no regulation set up with the NIL contracts that like prevent a player from just bailing on a contract, essentially, with no consequence. So there needs to be something set in place. It's always going to be about the money, Wicked Pinto. You'd be naive to say that it's not about the money. But I do think there's a better way to still protect the institutions in some sort of way. And also, like, if we're going to treat college football like it's minor league football, which it basically is, then I think the players need to learn, not only how to play and how to become young men, but they need to learn, about the contracts and about how serious that stuff is and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, I mean, Deion Sanders is he's still coaching out there at Colorado. We'll see how long that lasts. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't go much further. Yeah. No, it's a different song called Dirty Laundry. That song is pretty funny, though. Don Henley, I'll say this, dude. Don Henley's solo stuff is really weird. It's like this close to being Weird Al, but not quite. But it's pretty silly shit. Demon Knight does rule, man. It's really good. If you guys haven't seen Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, you are missing out. It's got one of my favorite bit actors in it, who's in the first episode of Tales from the Crypt. Why am I all of a sudden forgetting his name now, even though he's one of my favorites? This is what happens, guys. I go live and I forget everything. The man who was death. This is so embarrassing. It's got, good fucking Christ, Google, just tell me who the fuck is in this episode. This is William Sadler. Like, this is me getting mad at like inanimate objects, and you guys are probably like, whoa, Davey, the language. But come on, Google, I looked up the name of the episode. Why do I need to click again to find out who's in it? That's how lazy I've become. William Sadler. Shameful that I forgot his name. We've been talking a lot of actors' names here. Love William Sadler, and he's in Demon Knight. Of course, Billy Zane is in there. Really good. Jada Pinkett is in there, and I think she's really good in that one. She's a bit of an odd duck personally. Whatever. None of my business. I don't know. I think she's really good in Demon Knight. I think she's fantastic at the beginning of Scream 2. So, I'll just talk about her performances, and I think she makes it work. That's for sure. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Playing a little Zelda right now. Loved Hokum. Hell yeah, Shane. Let's see what else we got here. I never got into Tales from the Dark Side, the movies, or the show. I've seen the movie. But I am a huge Romero guy, so I need to get into those episodes. Yeah. It was right around that same time. It might have been a little bit before, yeah. Hokum is, Gene, it came out in May, and it's made by the same guy that did Caveat, and he did Oddity a couple years ago. He's an Irish screenwriter and director. His name's Damien McCarthy, and I just love, I think there's something exotic about watching filmmakers that are from different countries, even though there's a lot of cultural overlap as far as Brit culture and American culture goes. I still think it's like, it feels exotic, and it feels, I just love seeing storytelling from a different culture and different countries' point of view. So Damien McCarthy is making me realize, and then even like Demian Rugna, who made When Evil Lurks, he's an Argentinian filmmaker. These movies just made me realize, like, man, I want to see folklore and Evil Dead type movies from like all sorts of cultures. Like, I want to see what are the things that scare people in Ireland traditionally. What are the things that scare people in Australia, scare people in India, scare people in Algeria, whatever it is, like wherever the filmmaker comes from. Like, I want to, like, let's all share our folklore and our like cultural horror with one another, because I think they're obviously very primal human fears that are every culture you look into across the globe, you find really similar stories, right? I mean, we've got vampiric stories from Eastern Europe and all that, right? And then where I grew up in Southeast Alaska, with the Tlingit and Haida tribes that are there, the native tribes, there's a creature called the Kushtaka that's it's like sometimes they're described as like a part man, part otter. Sometimes they have bear features, but there is a factor with Kushtaka that Kushtaka is like, can imitate humans. So they use Kushtaka as a cautionary tale, basically like a never hike alone cautionary tale. Don't go in the woods alone. If you go in the woods alone, especially to the children, if you go in the woods alone, the Kushtaka is going to take you further in, because they say that the Kushtaka can look like a regular person and then sort of, brings you into the deepness of the woods, and then you're never found again. So it was a way of explaining, like, why did so-and-so go, like, never come back from blah, blah, blah. It was like, oh, well, the Kushtaka got him. So there's something vampiric about that, because not only can they shapeshift, but it was also believed that once you were taken away by the Kushtaka, you would become one of them. So it's really interesting to see how these certain elements cross over. And they don't even, it's not even, they're not crossing over. They're just so inherently human. They just pop up in our stories, these certain elements. It's very interesting to me. I find it endlessly fascinating. And I would love to see a Kushtaka film. I would love it if there are Native Alaskan corporations in the state of Alaska, and they're pretty wealthy corporations. And I would love to see the Native Alaskan corporations fund some Native American filmmakers to tell these stories. I think it would be amazing. Imagine a horror anthology of Native Alaskan horror stories. I mean, maybe there wouldn't be much public interest. Maybe I'm skewing because I grew up in Southeast Alaska, but I think you could sell to the general public how awesome it would be to have Native Alaskans telling Native Alaskan horror stories in an anthology. I think it would be pretty cool. I mean, talk about representation. Yes, Tarantino would be considered an auteur. Yeah. Kubrick would be considered an auteur, because even though he usually interpreted other people's works, in the case of like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Arthur C. Clarke wrote the book, and then Kubrick wrote the movie, and they wrote them like separately, making sure a couple things were together. But I think the movie came out technically before the book came out, because they were working on them simultaneously. Yeah. But yeah, Tarantino would count. George Romero would count. Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's really cool when you find filmmakers that do that just sort of lock in with an author so well, or a creator so well. Gordon definitely had that with Lovecraft. Yeah. True. Yeah. Well, and I always I looked it up the other day, Wicked Pinto, because every now words, obviously the meanings can change to varying degrees. So I looked it up just to make sure, and in the definition it was specifically the writing and the directing is when we refer to it in film. But yeah, I mean, if you write it and you direct it, then you would be the taskmaster, and you would be in control. Well, you'd be in control of everything that the producers would let you be in control of. But I would imagine the producers would trust you quite a bit if they're letting you write and direct. Yeah, absolutely. Eggers would be considered one too. Yeah. Oz Perkins. Yeah. You have to buy the DVD set to watch what? The Tales from the Dark Side? Hey, what's happening, Daniel? Welcome on in, man. Hope you're doing very, very well. Astro Juicy wants to have a little hit. Liz, are you hitting? What are you hitting, Liz? Let's see. Let me catch up with you guys here. I know I'm stop making Terrifier. I don't know if you guys are talking amongst each other. Terrifier can be the bar for certain kinds of movies, but yes, I would not want. Maybe this is just in reference to Hokum maybe being perceived as boring. But yeah, I don't even want. I mean, shit. Terrifier. Gosh, it's just a bit too much for me, guys. I don't enjoy watching. Well, I enjoy the third movie quite a bit. I did. I love a good Christmas horror movie. And guys, I still believe, I'm like, if Terrifier 4, if Damien Leone can give us enough of an explanation without spoiling the mystery, and we can get what I ultimately want to see, yes, I'm going to put my expectations in there, because he's never wowed me so far. I've not been wowed by Terrifier. But if in Terrifier 4 we get enough of an explanation without spoiling it, which I think is very possible for art, and I really do want an epic Braveheart style battle between heaven and hell. Maybe that's asking for a lot, but fuck it. We've not been given much from this franchise. Terrifier has not given us very much, guys. Art the Clown is an awesome icon, and there's some really cool moments and really fun kills, but that's all. So we got some iconography that's really cool, things that look cool, but where is everything else? Where's the lasting substance? Terrifier 4 can provide that. Terrifier 4 can provide lasting substance, and it doesn't need to, I'm not talking like this needs to be rich, like it doesn't need to be this big, like Lord of the Rings, I don't need it, every little thing, but provide some substance. And then I think if Terrifier 4 does it well enough, I think it'll sort of like retroactively add that substance to the previous entries in the franchise and make the previous entries in the franchise more valuable from a storytelling standpoint. Hopefully I didn't lose everyone with that one. Very bottom of Jersey. Gotcha. Oh, Delaware there. Okay. Yeah, so it's a bit of a drive. I get it. I get it. That can suck. That's why sometimes if I have to drive a ways, I just make sure I can go see 2 movies back to back. Because I'm like, well, if I'm driving an hour, I'm just going to make a day of it, you know? Making a day. Marilyn Manson's with Rob, along with Orgy. Okay. All right. Well, that should be pretty fun. Yeah. Not my genre of music, but like I think, you know, as far like, it's so funny because I think of all these bands as like dance music. Like you know, it's very saturated and there's some dirty sounds and just plenty of distortion and everything. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good lineup here as far, yeah, when we're talking this genre of music. Orgy, Marilyn Manson, then Rob Zombie. Yeah, people are going to be fucking at that show. Look out. Lock up the family bathrooms at the venue. You don't want people sneaking in there. Well, maybe you do. Let's see what else we got here. Of course. I appreciate it, Gene. And I don't ever want to shy away from that stuff. I know you guys have questions about it because it's new. But yeah, I just want to be very upfront about it. I know some people might feel a certain kind of way, and I don't mean to offend anyone or make you guys think that I'm only doing it for the money. It really is just a, you know, it's just a drop in the bucket. But I just figured, hey, I'm spending time doing it. It wouldn't be the worst thing, you know. Also, I don't know if this is true, but it wouldn't surprise me if YouTube, you know, goes to bat for you in pushing you in the algorithm if they can put ads on your videos, you know. Kind of makes sense, right? Like if you tell them to not monetize it, I don't think they keep the line out there as long. And, you know, it just kind of makes sense. Jen drops a $10 super chat and says, I said this on Killjoy Jake's stream yesterday, and I'm going to say it on every horror stream. I'm trying to manifest Christopher Landon directing Scream 8 and save the franchise. Jen, I can't wait to start talking about Scream 8. I don't know, because remember, they wanted him for Scream 7 and it fell apart. And I think it fell apart because of the Melissa Barrera situation. Guys, we're not going to get into all that right here on this stream. It'll take up the whole second hour. I've talked about it previously. I have videos on my channels or on the channel here. If you want to know how I feel about the Melissa Barrera situation, I put together a really good video after she did that. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying my video was really good. After the Variety article came out, that interview, I broke down the interview. We break down, you know, everything that's in there, and I editorialize and say my piece throughout the video. So it's not like I read a big chunk and then just tell you what I think. Like, I interject my thoughts all throughout the way. So if you want to know how I feel about Melissa Barrera, the Scream 7 situation, all that kind of stuff, you can find all that out. So I don't see Christopher Landon wanting to come back because I think that's the reason why he walked away. He didn't like the way Spyglass reacted to Melissa Barrera voicing her political opinion the way that she did. So I think that it's going to be a no for Christopher Landon. I'm not saying that I don't want him to do it. Does he have the skill to do it? Yes. Is he the kind of writer and director that can handle Scream and make a really awesome Scream movie? Absolutely. He's got the sensibilities. He's got, even like, I might not ever watch Drop again. I believe Drop was it end of 2024? Or sorry, end of 2025? End of 2024? When did end of 2024? Is that when Drop came out? Holy shit. When did it come out? Anyways, I enjoyed Drop. I'll probably never watch it again, but it did have like a really cool Hitchcockian vibe going on. So I think he's got it. I think we're closer to the Soska twins directing Scream 8 than anything else. It seems like it's kind of theirs to lose at this point because the discussions are going on and the producers may be I would imagine they're talking to multiple directors or directing teams. But it sounds like it could very well be the Soska twins. So that's where I'm leaning as far as like most likely. But I don't know. You know, Jen, I don't have my own. Right now, I'm like, I don't have like a pick for somebody that I'm like, absolutely make that person do the next Scream movie. Like, I just don't have that in my quiver. There's no arrow in that in that quiver. So yeah, I mean, it would be great if Christopher Landon would step in. I think he's got what it takes. I don't think he would do it for political reasons, optics reasons, however you want to say it. But thank you so much for the $10, Jen. That is so incredibly supportive. Thank you. Izzy, welcome on in, man. Missed you guys yesterday, but I'm locked in with you today. Well, welcome on in. Did I miss Russell jumping in? Russell, welcome on in, man. I just had totally missed it. One of our great channel members there, Russell. I still need to see Color Out of Space. That's Nick Cage, right? I saw the other movie he's in that looks, you know, that had a very similar aesthetic. Mandy? Guys, Mandy is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And I've watched every episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. And Mandy is one of the worst movies I've seen in my life. What's happening, Nathan? One of our great channel members. What's happening, Nathan Thornwood? How is Sunday treating you so far? Adrian, welcome on in, man. Welcome, welcome. We cannot misspell Liz's name. It did not turn me into a Doom streamer. I was it's Doomtuber. We like to be called Doomtubers. No, I mean, you can watch my review. I'm just always going to be open and honest. And yeah. And, you know, the only time I probably come across as a Doomtuber is when I'm talking about the Jason universe. But that's, you know, all in good fun. I mean, I'd like to think that too, Jen. I just don't know. I just don't know. Myers house is directly to the right. Okay, yes. I remember checking it out when I was there for H45. Yeah. Right up, man, it's just not far from the Elm Street house, and it's that whole neighborhood. It's amazing how close all that stuff is together. I remember Hardware being brought up on an episode of The Office. That's so funny. It's like Wall-E meets horror. Dude, is that... I want to check that one out. Thanks for inviting me to that one, Joe. Yeah, Coyote versus Acme looks really awesome. I'm so happy that finally got released after being on the shelf for so long. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, I would have been much more interested in Oak Street if the market hadn't already been saturated with all the effing Jurassic Park sequels over the years. Had it up to my neck with dinosaurs. Yeah, and this is probably worse than all the Jurassic Park movies, honestly. It has an Amblin look. It looks like E.T., Poltergeist, whatever. Like, it has that look. And just misses the mark on pretty much everything else. However, I'll say again, Michael Giacchino, who did the music, composed the score for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I mean, so many movies. He did the Batman movie, the Robert Pattinson Batman. He did the Fantastic Four movie last summer. His soundtracks are incredible. And the music for the end of Oak Street is fucking amazing. Nathan, just pull up the score for the movie, listen to it, and close your eyes and imagine like whatever movie you want to imagine. Because he's got that really cool like Alan Silvestri kind of feel going on. It's really, really good. Yeah. Love it. I love it. You know, it seems like they've learned a couple things. I mean, they haven't learned completely. But it does seem, you know, they're not going to talk about it. They would never admit it, Nathan. But I see from some of their casting decisions and some of the things they're doing, you know, they will never say, yeah, we should have always cherished our male fans who were there buying the comics when no one else was. They'll never say that. But I think they're showing it in the tiniest ways. But it's never going to be enough for me to fully trust them ever again. Yeah. Well, they're going to do that in Doomsday. We're going to kill the older X-Men for sure, because they're going to be rebooting with the or do you just mean killing the they're going to kill like all love we have for the franchise. I really hope they don't, and I really hope the X-Men feels like the X-Men, and it doesn't just feel like they're doing the same thing that they did with the Avengers. That's why I don't like, it kind of bums me out that the Avengers became as big as they were when they were never that big in the comics, because they turned the Avengers into like this fun bunch. I don't really get much of a fun vibe from the Avengers comics or anything like that. The X-Men, even though they deal with really serious stuff like mutant registration and all of the marginalization that they deal with and everything like that, there's still like something fun about the group, about the family element with the X-Men. And I worry that it's just going to be seen as, oh, they're just redoing the Avengers thing, when really I think they took the X-Men vibe and applied it to the Avengers to begin with. So it's just one of those weird things. And I'm not even the biggest comic book nerd. You know what I mean? Like I'm like I do love the comics, but I can't sit there. I'm not an encyclopedia with them the way I am with music and the way I am with the horror movies we talk about. Yeah, so good. So good. I'm going to jump ahead, guys. What's happening, Jamie? Welcome on in. Our original Death Squad mod and our mama mod and a dear friend. Welcome, welcome, Jamie. I think I'm going to skip ahead, guys. If I miss something that's super important, feel free to pop it back in there. I won't be offended or anything. Okay, so you're like 10 years younger than me. All right, so it's I think I always think that I'm not as old as I am, Liz. I would like to think we're closer in age than 10 years, but there you go. There you go. Yeah, those are two really good ones. Yeah. Rancid's got them. Yeah, I mean, Op Ivy, if you want the more ska side of what Rancid sort of left behind a little bit when they formed, for sure. But bands like NoFX, Liz, I'm sure you've heard of NoFX, and you've probably heard some NoFX songs. Mostly it's going to be skate punk from NoFX. But man, once El Jefe joined the band, they started bringing in that edge. I mean, they even had it before. It's true. They have a song called Food, Sex, and You, but it's EWE, as in like, farm animals, Food, Sex, and You. It's on their album Ribbed. I believe that's 1989, and that's a ska song. And then there's even a ska song on S&M Airlines from 87, I think it was, or 88. Yeah, so they were always kind of flirting with a little bit of that, but once El Jefe joined the band, they put out The Longest Line in 1990. It's an EP. It's really, really good. It's 5 songs that are fucking incredible. The Death of John Smith by NoFX is one of their greatest tracks. Never really got any play because it's not on a full-length album. But then they did Kill All the White Man. El Jefe wrote and sang that one, and that's like a more traditional ska song. But then from there, with him in the band and having a trumpet player and somebody that was just a bit quicker on the up pick, they brought in that element. There's a lot of really good ska songs from NoFX. In fact, a lot of punk bands in that era they dabbled because they saw that it was pretty catchy. Yeah, man, I would say 40 Ounces to Freedom's got some really good tracks. Unfortunately, I think on 40 Ounces to Freedom, the best songs aren't Sublime songs. New Thrash is not a Sublime song. We're Only Gonna Die from Our Own Arrogance is not a Sublime song. And then what's the third one? Hope. So Hope is a Descendant song. We're Only Gonna Die from Our Own Arrogance is Bad Religion. And then New Thrash is who's New Thrash? Fudge. Is it Minor Threat? Who wrote New Thrash? New Thrash. Oh, come on. My keyboard hates me because it's so hot. New Thrash song. It says Sublime. It's not a Sublime song. Pretty sure it's not a Sublime song, but I'm not seeing anything. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure it's not. Here, New Thrash original artist. Oh, it isn't. There's some other song that I'm totally forgetting about on 40 Ounces to Freedom, because I think they have 3 covers on there. But the Sublime self-titled record, that record's a banger. That's the impression that I get. They really smoothed out Dickie's voice on that record. I think they had him double track his vocal. Save Ferris is really good too. Yeah. The World Is New, I think, is the name of their record. That's a really good one. Yeah. Very, very similar to Real Big Fish. And I think what's her face? She guested on what's the song? She Has a Girlfriend Now from Real Big Fish. That song's really good. She has a girlfriend now. What is the fucking funniest line in that song? He says something like, I'll cut my penis off for you. Oh my gosh. You could be, back in the day when people could have fun with that kind of stuff and just be silly with it. You should, Liz. You should. Music is my number one passion, and it was my creative life from age 13 when I started my first band into my late 30s. Yeah. I recorded music for my own bands and other bands, and love helping people write music, and love playing guitar and bass and keys, and love playing a little glockenspiel. Love a Glock. Egg shaker, tambourine, all that kind of fun stuff. Thank you. I appreciate you. I know. Just the brain fart at the worst possible time, especially for a performer who I just love so very much. It was like extra shameful for me that I couldn't think of it. So I'm going to have to write a letter of apology to good old Bill there. Mr. Grim Reaper from Bogus Journey. What's happening, Michelle? Welcome on in, one of our great channel members, Michelle Schmidt. Any new horror movies coming in the coming months you're looking forward to? If so, which ones? Guys, I'm so looking forward to Resident Evil. They just, Zach Kreger just put out a little, clip snippet kind of thing, just a little video talking about his approach. Oh my God, guys, I think Resident Evil is going to be, it could be the best horror movie of the year. I think if it's just as good or close to Hokum, I probably give Hokum the edge because I'm just that big of a fan of folklore horror and the vibe of Hokum. But man, Resident Evil looks really good. This Austin Abrams kid, I might have a short coming out about him because, ever since Weapons came out last year, people were kind of blown away at his performance. But it was like all we really had that, we could recognize from him. He's been working since the late 20 teens. He's just going to be 30 years old here in less than a month. I think it's like September 2nd he turns 30. So, and then he's in that Whalefall movie coming out, which everyone is super hyped on too. So he has Whalefall and Resident Evil coming out this fall. And he just had Weapons, and I'm like, man, is this like Kreger's new guy? Actors and directors can kind of pair up. Scorsese paired up with De Niro for such a long time, and then he's worked with DiCaprio so many times. And I'm like, man, I'm getting a feeling that Austin Abrams is a very quickly rising star, and I have a feeling that he's going to start getting grabbed for bigger projects. And there's one franchise in particular that we've heard rumblings of coming back. And I started thinking last night, which is why I'm going to make a short about this, so I don't want to say everything, but I started thinking, man, this might be a good time to grab this 30-year-old guy to play a character that he could play for a couple decades. Not going to say who, but you can probably guess. But man, oh man, I'm just like, grab him before the studio system gets him involved in what they're doing. Welcome on in, Merc. Welcome, buddy. Hope you're doing great. Let's see what else we got here. And I never got that far into Gotham, I don't think, but I enjoyed what I saw of the show. Twin Lights Caravan. What's happening, guys? Welcome on in. Hope you're doing very well. Is this your guys' first time jumping in? I'm so far behind on chats. So far behind. If you're still here, oh my gosh, thank you for hanging out. Dead Ringer Video, thanks for kicking it with us again. If you're still here. Yeah, I can do the same thing. It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm just talking about the performances and purely based on performance. I got to judge people fairly on that, right? I believe in merit. People, I've been accused of, man, earlier this week on Twitter, I got called some really terrible names, and I was accused of being something that I'm not by somebody, and it's not that it really hurt. It's just that, like, well, let me show you why those criticisms I had nothing to do with skin color or whatever. And then let me show you all the times that I've loved the works of people from all different backgrounds and qualifying factors. And it's shameful at sometimes that you have to do that in this world, but people will look at the 1 or 2 times that you criticize someone that they could say, oh, that person's in a marginalized group. The fact that you criticize their work, I think that means you just don't like them because of this thing or that thing. And it really has nothing to do with the work itself. And I want to assure everyone that I judge the work, you know. That's, to me, the storytelling is the most important part. So I don't care who's telling the story or who is in the, you know, as long as their performer's doing well and the story's well written, I really don't care. So it was one of those things where I'm like, well, let me tell you some of the things you've probably missed by not doing the deep dive on my channel. And I literally rattled through, like, here are all the times that I praised works of people that look nothing like me or sound nothing like me or whatever, because we live in a wild world, man, where people just assume because there's that one thing that it must come from a place of hate instead of just being a fair criticism. And really, I'll just be honest with you guys. It all stemmed from the guy that was in the Wonder Man show that got canceled, you know, put out a statement to Disney that, or, you know, about Disney that was like, well, because my show got canceled, he's a black guy, because my show got canceled and they're not making this Blade movie. He's like, that doesn't look good for Disney and the optics, and like, this was a quality show that we were a part of, and it only got canceled because, like, he said the voters instead of, and then called them viewers. So it's like to me, I sort of read that as like, no one liked our show because of who the president is now, so they didn't like our show. I'm like, shows fail all the time for so many reasons. To assume that it's because of that, to me, was kind of wild. So I just called it out for what I thought it was, and I called it manipulative, divisive, and disingenuous. And somebody really didn't like that. So, but if I don't care what the person looked like, if they came out and tried to blaming like the show's great, you all just didn't get it because you're hateful. You're gonna have a tough time having me believe that you're coming from a good place. If you think your show got canceled because of hate and because of Disney's hate, Disney has gone out of their way time and time again to show that they will lose money to try to prove a point. But ultimately, it is going to be about the amount of money you can bring in for them. They have a responsibility to earn money. You know, anyways, I'm not going to get into all the things because I don't want to get into it. I just wanted to, I just thought it was worth bringing up that point, you know, just to talk about, you know, that things should be based on merit, you know, more than anything else. We got Jeff from John Doe Juggalo hanging out. What's happening, Jeff? Welcome on in, man. I love Jeff's channel, guys. Really great physical media channel. I say it every time Jeff comes in here, but his, you know, you come to the Davey Deathray channel and it's like, I'm just like, here's my opinions and like, here's my crazy, like, I'm just going to give you all the energy I got. And what I really love about going over to Jeff's channel, he has a fantastic voice, and there's just something so relaxing about Jeff's channel and his cadence and just everything about it. Like, it is, for somebody like me, it's such a great break from myself, because, hey, I even need a break from me from time to time. And just a great example how something that's relatively opposite can be incredibly valuable. Absolutely. Of course, Daniel, of course, man, you're always welcome. And thank you for joining us. A tour of a great many things, unfortunately. Well, you know, I don't think it I get what you're saying. I'm not going to disagree with you just because. I think it is like important, though. Everyone knows that it's a collaborative process, right? I don't think there's anyone out there that thinks that a film gets made because one person does everything. So I think it's like, you can assume there's going to be, on most, you know, anything that's got a studio, any kind of studio behind it, hundreds to thousands of people involved. So yeah, I think the important thing about separating and just knowing the difference between what an auteur is and what like a high class filmmaker is just that distinction of that they're the writer and the director. So they control the vision on the page, and they control the vision on the, you know, in the camera, the visual storytelling side of it as well. So yeah, I think it's just a good thing to know. You know, the person that directs it, are they writing it as well? I just think, to me, as a filmmaker, as a film goer, that's just kind of like a good little piece of trivia I like to have going into watching a movie, you know, and it just sort of helps me, you know, appreciate their work a little bit more. I'm very behind. Yeah. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. That's why I'm so far behind. Okay. I am going to just jump all the way to the front, guys. If I missed you jumping in, then say, if I missed you jumping in, just say hi again, and I'll say hi to you. But I'm skipping all the way to the front, all the way to the front. So I've missed whatever else is going on. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Exactly. Well, especially somebody like Dustin Hoffman, you know, with the method style and everything like that. That's true. However, if Peckinpah wrote that on the page and then he's capturing it visually, and then a director's main job on set is to advise and, you know, give the direction is not for the camera, the direction's for the actor. So yes, absolutely, Hoffman's bringing his own thing, and Hoffman brings amazing juice to the roles. And Straw Dogs is an incredible film, and it's an incredibly difficult film to watch. It is not a horror movie, guys, but I'll tell you something. I mean, there are those moments that feel like horror movie moments. In a way, it is moments that feel like Night of the Living Dead or Evil Dead, even, you know, in the last act. But there's some themes, and particularly one scene in general in Straw Dogs, that is one of the most difficult things I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. So it is a really good movie. I highly recommend watching it if you can handle the most uncomfortable stuff, you know. It's not uncomfortable. I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to spoil it. It's not uncomfortable gore. It's uncomfortable in like the worst way you could think of, unfortunately. I'm so sorry, Liz. You can post them. You can post them. When I realize that I'm a half hour behind and we only have a half hour left, I'm like, you know, I don't want to. I want to feel like I'm hanging with you guys, you know, and I'm not hanging behind. Well, I don't know about all that stuff, Wicked Pinto, because I have no idea about what they wanted to do. I mean, we have some good Blade movies that are already in the can from way back when, right? I mean, he really was the first black superhero, comic book superhero, to be in a movie, even though Marvel tried to erase that history. It's really interesting that the erasure of that history when they put out Black Panther doesn't seem very appropriate to me. I wasn't cool with it at the time, but whatever. But I mean, I think anyone could be a vampire, because all that would have to happen is a vampire would have to bite them, right? If we're talking vampires the way that we look at them in film now, which is pretty much a secular kind of vampire, is sort of the way they're interpreted. Certainly the way the vamps are interpreted in the world of Blade, in the Marvel world. They don't, you know, we're not hearkening back to like a Dracula story or a story that's really attached to Catholicism, or, you know, a person that sold their soul to the devil to become something, you know. It's like, it's so far away from that. You know, and that's the thing with like vampires or something like zombies, is like, it's such a generic kind of character that it's just going to be co-opted. And I don't usually, co-opted has a negative connotation. I don't mean it in that way. I just mean that like it has universal appeal, and people are going to interpret it in a way that's is going to move away from the original origin of the creature, which I think is fine, because we still have movies that do pay attention to the origins of vampires. So we haven't gone too far. But yeah, I think you can do a Dracula. Dracula story with a Muslim, but that's different than Blade, right? But even if they work in the character Dracula into the Blade story, they're still playing by like Marvel rules. You know what I mean? It's like Batman did like a versus Dracula thing. They're not, you know, it's like they're doing an interpretation of Dracula, which I think is fair. It's just like, honestly, like my preferred version, like I love Dracula from like the Castlevania video games. Like, I mean, I love Bela Lugosi's Dracula and, you know, Christopher Lee and all that. Like, I do love those, but like my favorite is the Castlevania Dracula. So I don't get bogged down by like all of the Bram Stoker lore, really. If that makes any sense. Yeah, fucking with me. Get this girl out of here. I'm just joking. Oh, I'm gonna give you shit later, Liz. You just friggin' wait. David Higgum hanging out. What's happening, David? Welcome on in, man. Are you looking forward to the Halloween game coming out September 8th? I am. I don't have a console I can play it on though, guys. So I'm gonna be hanging out on the sidelines watching other people play and cheering them on, and hopefully I can get a copy at some point. That's the plan. Just didn't work out for me to to jump on, to put myself in a position where I wouldn't be in a financially good spot if I tried to do all that stuff. Liz, are you going to be playing the Halloween game? I'd imagine you are, right? As long as they don't sparkle in the sunlight, I'm down with vampires. Yeah. Yeah, Wicked Pinto, I think mostly it's the way that the tone just comes across, because all we can see is the text, right? So it can be tough to interpret tone. So I think, that's just sort of the thing here. I mean, yeah, I just think anyone can become a vampire because it's just who the vampire bites, right? I don't think there has to be. I understand what you're saying about the origins of like where a vampire comes from. Absolutely. The origins of vampires come from a antithetical Christian kind of creature. I get what you're saying. But ultimately, I think you could also just kind of boil it down to they're demonic, right? I don't think demons are exclusive to Christianity. Maybe they're called something different in different religions, but I think it's sort of like, we can just assume that vampires come from the most evil essence that exists on any plane of existence. That is what's living inside of a vampire, So yeah. I wish Vampire in Brooklyn was funny though. Or I wish I enjoyed it more. Yeah. All right, let's see here. What else do we got going on? I just started playing the TCM game and I'm finding it very boring. I never got into that one. Never checked it out. And I know a lot of people are worried the Halloween game is going to fall to the same fate, but they have given us every reassurance that it is not going to be that way. The rights are all wrapped up for Halloween. That's the cool thing about it. And also Malik, it's been a while since I've voiced this, but like I got to meet and, talk with Malik at H45. There was nothing special about that really, because the guy is so personable. He was walking around engaging fans during an after party. An after party for the VIP, yes, but here's the thing about the VIP tickets. I don't even know if it was VIP. I think it was if you had a weekend pass. It was such a good deal to go to H45. It was like $60 a ticket for the whole weekend, for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. $60. Isn't that crazy? Like, I think that's a really good for the whole thing, for the whole weekend. And you could have broken it up day by day, but if you got the weekend pass, I was coming in from out of town. If you got the weekend pass, you could go to this after party that was, I think it was on Friday night. Maybe it was Saturday. I think it was Friday night. And Malik was just so great. But he was very, he takes Michael seriously, which is why I'm kind of surprised to see that Michael is used on the Voodoo Ranger, autumnal box for beer. It's a really good looking Michael, like in a logo that they have there. I'm just sort of surprised to see Michael marketing booze because I don't think Michael needs it. Like Jason, they're not making money on the Jason universe, really. They're selling the toys and stuff, but they're not making the big bucks. So I get why they did like Sweet Revenge and all that Angry Orchard shit. And then Scream doesn't really need to do it either, but they're doing it too with Angry Orchard. So it kind of grosses me out a little bit to see that stuff. I stopped drinking over a year ago, so maybe that's probably why. I just don't like seeing these characters that we love like marketing booze. I just think it's kind of like, it's just the soulless kind of stuff that I just don't really dig very much. But of course, like I hold nothing against folks who enjoy adult beverages. But yeah, I don't know how I got on all that. Oh, I know that the Halloween game, that they have good intentions and they're putting their best foot forward because Malik doesn't fuck around when it comes to that kind of stuff. I do have a PC. I need a new one, Nathan. Yeah, I run off a laptop and I'm in the position. It's really hurting. I have a tough time editing on this thing as is. So yeah, there are plans to get something in the future where I could game. And obviously, if you can game on a computer, you can easily do video editing. You know. So yeah, I'm making plans for that, Nathan, but not quite there. I dug it. I mean, I dug it both times I saw it. There's certain things that, like, I think I was saying yesterday, like the soliloquies in the Texas Chainsaw movies. I don't really need those. I don't really need the whole like I like Hoyt as a character, but like some bit of preaching going on that is sort of like, okay, like let's get to what we're here for. Is kind of how I feel. I think our cannon fodder could have been cast better, but what I will say about the beginning, what I really love about it is the family dynamic, and I want more of that. I want to see that matriarchal, patriarchal kind of struggle. It seems like it was very hinted at in the beginning, but I love the idea of it being a matriarch, that the mom's at the top. And I love the idea of maybe there is some of that friction because mom's older and one of the sons, question mark, because we don't really, these families are fucking crazy, is just sort of waiting for that power struggle. So like Succession meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be kind of cool. I kind of dig that. Oh yeah, 80s HBO movies that were overplayed. Welcome on in, Blair. Welcome. Once Bitten, man. That's the first time I ever saw Jim Carrey in anything. Killer Clowns is great. TMNT 2. Yeah, TMNT 2 is all right. I love the OG. What are the movies I saw all the time? A Toxic Avenger. Always saw that on like USA Network. Of course, the Friday the 13th movies and Halloween movies during the respective holidays or times of year. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Earth Girls Are Easy. That felt like that was always on TV. Another Jim Carrey movie. I like demon films too. Not necessarily religious demonic possession per se. It was $60 for the whole weekend. So I don't think it was technically VIP, but I remember, I don't think it was. I'd have to go look back. But I think if you got, the deal was if you got the weekend pass, you got to go to the after party. I think that was the deal. Like individual people that bought individual tickets for the individual day couldn't get in, but if you had the weekend pass, you could get in. But I thought $60 for a weekend pass was pretty reasonable. I don't know any convention that does that. And the Halloween H45 was huge. I mean, the people that were there, I mean, it's just people from all over the franchise. No, I'm not going to start drinking. Have a good night, Asha. Take care, bud. I know you're just joking. I know you're just joking, Wicked Pinto, but also, like, I mean, I think we can be fair here. It does seem like you like to ruffle feathers, okay? I get it. I can be that way too from time to time. However, you know, I think it's just important to remember that these hangouts are about the 45 people hanging out here, you know? And I knew that I have loud, brash opinions and everything like that, and I have things to say. So one thing that I did is I started my own channel to get a lot of those out. So I'm just saying that, like, I'm just asking you to play nicely and mind the mods and don't try to make them live in your world, because this is all about this community here. So, and I have known Jamie for quite a while. I trust her, and I don't usually see her get worked up like this. Like, usually it's for good cause. And again, I'm not reading every little thing. I'm just asking you to just, you know, play nice. The fact that you keep on pushing back, it's not a sign of good faith, bud. I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay. I don't like seeing that. I have people that do that to me in my personal relationships, and it puts me in a spot where I can't be in a relationship with them anymore. Because if people can't, you know, take a step back and look at themselves in that light and continue to ignore it and push back on it, it just makes me think it's never gonna, you know, I don't like seeing those tendencies, man. So Yeah, I'll just say it again. If you want to act however you want to act, then YouTube will allow you to make a channel and you can act however you want to act. When you're in here, I would appreciate that you just act respectable or respectful to everyone. And if that means putting a cap on like the true you, then sometimes that's what it takes to get along in society here. So again, I'm asking it of you. You don't have to hang out if you don't want to. And all that kind of stuff, and really telling me I should drink again and that Facci said it's okay. I don't mind. I mean, whatever. I'm more concerned with all the pushback and everything. Okay, that's all. So, and I don't, again, I'm sorry guys to everyone else that's watching. This is not the purpose of the hangouts that we have, and I'm sorry, but I think at some point I have to step in and just try to say something. Okay, so thank you, Jamie, for handling it as best you can, and I want you to know, Jamie, that I've got your back. Okay, and I'm always going to err on the side of my mods. I just am, because I can't pay attention to every little thing during a stream. So I'm going to err on the side of the mods, and then we can suss it all out after. But just please be respectful. That's all I ask. Thank you, Jamie. Welcome on in, Astro Juicy. Hope you're doing very well. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. The mods here do rock. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I get like, I know that my opinions, like I said, I know that I can be very opinionated and I can be very passionate about the way I voice my opinions. I would never want anyone to think that I was shouting them down or that I'm telling you you're wrong or your opinion has less value. I might get very fiery about my opinion, but I would never let that cross the line into name calling or into just, I don't know, pushing someone too far. And I certainly would never go into anyone else's chat and like try to cause dust ups. And it seems like every time, unfortunately, we get that from this character. So it's too bad. Again, I think people that feel that way and feel that strongly can just start their own channel. It's a great way to express yourself. Yeah, I don't think you have to apologize, Jamie. I think he knows that he pushes your buttons. So I think everything he's doing is to exactly do that. So anyways, we can move on. I know you put a 5-minute on there, Jamie, but of course use your discretion. I'll just say this. I don't want to have to bring the stream to a screeching halt again to have to address him personally. I feel like he's gotten the personal addressing a couple times and we fed that hunger enough. Yeah. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I must have missed something. Unless if it was only the drinking thing, whatever. If it was something else, I must have missed it. Anyways. I appreciate you guys for being super cool. Guys, we have about 15 minutes left or so. So let's have some fun, right? Let's make it about us and let's have some fun. What do you guys got for me? Do you got any questions? Gosh, we did talk about little RE for that Resident Evil that's coming out. What else are we looking forward to? What else is there for 2026 horror? I think I might actually be able to, I don't know if I'll bring it up on the screen for everyone, but I can at least look at Bloody Disgusting. There's 10 upcoming horror movies that still haven't come out this summer. Okay. So this was, okay, they were talking about Insidious. I think we did talk about this last time on the news. Yeah, we did. There's the one that I'm curious about. Well, Colony looks really good, and I've heard good things about it from the same filmmaker that made Train to Busan. And it's another zombie movie. I don't know if it exists in the same world, but it looks really cool. And we got Buddy. I don't know how interested I am in that one. I haven't even watched a trailer, so I guess I have to do that to determine how interested I am. But the other one, what's this spider movie that they've got coming out? What is this thing called? Oh, there's Onslaught that's coming out. This movie Hope looks kind of crazy, right? With these giant, like, I don't know what this is, like giant witch creatures, giant biological weapons. I don't even know. Have you guys seen the trailer for the movie called Hope? It's a South Korean monster movie from the Nong Hong Jin. Sorry if my pronunciation is terrible. This is the director that made The Wailing. And this movie looks really interesting. Like I love a good, it's a creature feature, like action creature feature, kind of up my alley. Oh, it's called Don't Move, and I probably forgot the name because there was just a movie a few years ago called Don't Move. I think Sam Raimi produced it for like Netflix or something. This is totally different. A movie called Don't Move about giant spiders. And oh my God, the image that they've got here of this, I believe it's a woman in a bunch of webbing with this spider rearing up with all of its fangs out. It just looks incredible. And a giant spider movie, it's kind of like a giant shark movie. I'm sort of like, I'm going to be really curious just because of the premise. Yeah. So yeah, Colony and Don't Move. Those are the two that I'm really interested in checking out. Man, maybe I can see, I think Colony just came out or it's about to drop. So yeah, I don't know. What are you guys looking forward to for the rest of the year as far as horror goes? I know I've got to be missing out on horror, like November and December horror. I'm trying to think of what's coming out other than like Werewolf. I'm like, what are the December, November, December horror movies? I don't even know. I'm so fixated on like Crystal Lake as well, guys. So you all were pretty positive on me doing some coverage for the comic books. There's a Friday the 13th comic called Pamela's Tale. And it sort of intermixes the opening scene of the first Friday the 13th movie with Pamela like telling her backstory while she's driving in the car. So pretty like kind of cool. And I'm trying to, what I want to do is sort of make it a little bit of a motion comic if I can. I haven't seen anyone that's done that on YouTube. And instead of just reading through it or explaining what's going on, I was thinking of actually putting together, like getting some people together that could provide some voice work. So I've been reaching out about some voice work because I think it would be cool. You know, I can do narration, I can do like guys' voices and like put on different accents and stuff for all that. But I would love to get some ladies involved because most of the dialogue is or ladies, or you know, there's Pamela and there's a whole bunch going on. So I don't want to sit there and just falsetto it. It doesn't have to be like Shakespeare where it's just like a guy pretending to be a girl just for whatever reason. So I'm putting that together, and I'm even thinking about putting together kind of I might be working, this might be a collaboration, but like an everything we know so far kind of video on Crystal Lake as we get closer. But I thought with the comics, going back to especially just hitting up the Pamela's Tale for this time. There are other comics that we could cover later, but it would be cool to do this just 2 issues for Pamela's Tale. And, you know, we're going to see A24 and Brad Caleb Kane's interpretation of like this, you know, it's not going to be a true origin story, but just way more of Pamela's character and where she's coming from. So we're going to see their iteration of Pamela and that kind of backstory. And then, this comic is not, I don't believe it's anything that they're borrowing from for the show, but I think it would be kind of cool to go and see, let's look at one version of Pamela's backstory, because it goes into Jason's father and, you know, what happened between Pamela and him and all that kind of stuff. So I think it would be really cool. Looking forward to doing that. Evil Alex is pumped for Crystal Lake. Hell yeah. Dune and Doomsday, says Evil Alex. There we go. And I'm just not even thinking about those movies right now. Not even thinking about those because I'm just focused on horror whenever I step in here with you guys. I've yet to see a spider flick that could top the hellish looking creepiness of 1977's Kingdom of the Spiders, especially seeing the entire town in a cocoon. Is that the one with William Shatner, Nathan? I can't remember if that's what it's called, but man, that movie, I just watched it at the beginning of the year, like in January, maybe it was December. That movie with William Shatner, the giant spider, well, I don't think they have giant spiders, just a shitload of spiders. It was shot very close to where I live, about like 2 hours away. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate you, man. Have a great rest of your day. Eli Cortez, one of our amazing moderators, just a pillar of the community here on YouTube, and a good bud. Hey, Eli, how did you enjoy the Voodoo Ranger mix pack, man? Did you dig it? I'm a lady. I'm your Huckleberry. Hell yeah. Oh, I would absolutely have you voice the character. Yes, Jamie, absolutely. I'm still like, I reached out to one person so far because I'm like, should I do it that way, or should I just explain them while I'm showing them? I think it would be cool to actually like read, like almost do it like a teleplay kind of thing. You know what I mean? Have some music in the background that has a Harry Manfredini kind of vibe, like try to capture a little bit of that vibe with some music. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Yeah. Dude. I'm responding to something that I'm not going to directly address here. Yeah. I think it's just one person. Yeah. Dude, it is crazy, and then it's really sad because I'm pretty sure they did have to kill a lot of tarantulas for that movie, because there's scenes where like they get driven over and stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, the movie's very impressive. It's also very impressive how Shatner's character is like going for his, like he and his brother's widow have a thing. I mean, gosh, you don't see that very much after the Bible days, really, you know? It's a cool movie. It's really cool to see all these places, because man, so that whole Sedona area, it's a lot more built up, like, and everything in between it's a lot more built up. So it's cool to see it from that era and time. It really is. Dude, I love tarantulas. Oh my gosh, I'm jealous that you have two. I've wanted a tarantula as a pet since I was a little kid. It's true, and I will say this. Evil Alex, I'm not sure if you've seen the Kingdom of the Spiders movie. There are hundreds of them. So it looks like most of them were treated better than not, but with all the stunts they're doing, I just can't believe that there weren't some that were harmed. Excuse me. But they have so many in there. It is wild how many tarantulas they have in there. Arachnophobia is great. I love that movie. The Killing of yeah. It is, the movie's got there are a bunch of like hysterically wild scenes. Yeah. I need to watch it again. I only seen it the one time. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Cannibal Holocaust is the worst offender. Hey there, Sin. Welcome on in. Sin says, was channel surfing on YouTube and saw you were live. Have you seen any good movies lately? I just watched The Wave from Norway. I have not seen The Wave. The last movie I saw that I enjoyed was Super Troopers 3. You know, nowhere near, you know, the original, of course. But like, I like seeing those guys. They still push it a little bit, you know, so I dig that. I am going to try to see, like, I heard good things about Colony Sin, so I'm going to try to see that. But yeah, it's been a bummer summer for me. Evil Dead is my favorite franchise of all time, and Evil Dead Burn was absolutely terrible, in my opinion, unfortunately. I never thought I would see a movie that was that bad in the Evil Dead franchise, because I've really enjoyed all the other films so much, even the ones that were lesser. You know, even like something like Evil Dead Rise, which really didn't resonate right away. Like, I've grown to love it. And Evil Dead Burn made Evil Dead Rise feel like a classic Evil Dead movie to me. That's how far off Evil Dead Burn was. So I was super bummed with that. I thought Ice Cream Man was just going to be at least like dumb fun, shut off my brain and have a good time. But the only thing it brought to the table was cool effects. Didn't have good acting. It had no story at all. By the time you get any sort of backstory on the Ice Cream Man, you're pretty much done with the movie, and it doesn't really like matter. And then, I mean, End of Oak Street, fucking what the fuck? I mean, I know how you feel about that one. I don't even, maybe I hate it more. I don't know. We're probably right about there, hating the End of Oak Street. But yeah, it's been a bummer summer. The last like great movie I saw is probably Hokum in May. Yeah. Like, I thought Obsession was pretty good. Backrooms was okay. Leviticus was a total letdown. Could have been way cooler. Yeah. I at this point, Sin, I am like, I've been so lukewarm on Zach Kreger as a filmmaker. I think like Barbarian was good. Weapons was good. Weapons ending like totally took away the 4-star rating that it had in my head before the last act. But his Resident Evil movie, which I was like pretty on at first, I was like kind of worried, oh no, another Resident Evil movie that's not going to follow the games. What the fuck are we doing? But then listening to him talk and watching the trailer, and it's like, oh no, 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 this is what Kreger's doing. It's actually really brilliant what Zach Kreger's doing with his Resident Evil movie. He loves the game so much, and I don't even know if he's seen the movies, but he's like, I want to give you an experience that feels like you're watching a game. But it's a game we've never seen before, guys. So he's going to give us an hour and a half. They say it's going to be an hour and 35 minutes runtime. Fucking thank you. Thank you. A horror movie that doesn't act like it needs to be Gone with the Wind. Can we get back to like 90-minute horror movies? What the fuck, dude? 100 minutes. Come on, max. But yeah, hour 35. And so we're going to get a speed run, hour 35 game experience, essentially, that we've never seen before. It's going to be amazing. He talks about going through the natural progression of starting with a pistol, upgrading to a shotgun, then upgrading to a machine gun, finding padlocks every time he goes somewhere. He has to do something creative to progress. It's like he's going to put us through this really cool experience that I think is going to be really special for horror fans, but I think like for the video game culture, like for those people that love gaming and love this franchise, I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air and really cool to sit in a movie theater and watch a big budget speed run of a brand new Resident Evil game. I think it's like the greatest gift. Yeah. Yeah. And Sin, I really hope I didn't embarrass you the other night on your stream. Guys, again, if you, not again, but if you have not subscribed over to Sin's Corner, I find her to be one of the most refreshing people in the space of, film criticism and just very common sense. And I think in this day and age, common sense is not that common, unfortunately, or at least maybe the people that feel that way don't feel comfortable to voice it. I love that about Sin. So check out her channel. And Sin, I hope I didn't embarrass you the other night, because yes, she was on Wilkie's Movies and Music. And I did say that Sin was my hero because of that refreshing nature and that common sense that she brings to a world that seems to want to act like the exact opposite of reality is reality. So thank you so much for using your voice and just, and just loving movies and articulating it so damn well. I love seeing it. So yeah, there we go. There we go. Sorry for embarrassing you. Let me embarrass you again. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, I know. And one I was worried about, I was the one that was like, oh no, why are we doing this when we already have 5 or 6 movies that don't follow the games already anyways? But the fact that he is just, it's all brand new. We're not co-opting characters from, as far as I know, we're not co-opting characters from previous games. I do think it's really amazing. Like it's they could make a game based off this movie. If the movie does well enough, they will make a game based off the movie, based on the game series, and it will be like an original game that essentially Zach Kreger wrote. Crazy, it's bonkers. And I love feeling his passion and his love for the franchise. And I think it's pretty wild that he could have done anything after Weapons. He could have picked some mainstream thing that's not horror. I shit you not. Weapons was like a big enough deal. He could have gone and done. He could have just been like, all right, horror, I'll see you guys when I see you guys, but I'm going to go make like the big bucks over here. And I'm not saying he's not being compensated well enough for, I don't even know what the whole deal is with Resident Evil, but I do think that part of that decision of him jumping into doing that movie, it does come from a place of passion and a place of fandom. And it is a decision of his that was made that whereas I think he probably could have had other options if he had wanted to. Oh, thanks. Thank you. I'm so happy. To you never know, and also Sin, like it's one of those things too where it's like, well, yeah, I'm in the creator space and everything too, but I also don't want to cross any sort of line where it's like where it feels like there's a parasocial kind of thing going on. So after I was like, man, was that too much? But I'm sort of like in my kind of vibe of like, you know what, if you do have something sweet to say to somebody that you truly believe, you should just let them know, because it could make them maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe you could just make their already good day great. I don't know. So I try not to be awkward about it, but then sometimes I feel like I make it more so. I enjoyed Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City as a horror film, but it still had its issues. I had to turn it off. I was so like, what are we doing here? I was like, I don't understand how these people are supposed to be these people. It really is. It is one of these weird things. And I know I just talked about merit and everything, but Swift, it is one of these things where it's like, if you give me a Leon S. Kennedy that looks nothing like the character, then why does the character look like that in the games? I do feel like there are certain things where it's like, that's not Leon, you know, that's not Claire, or whatever. And it's just like, there are plenty of characters within the Resident Evil world from all sorts of different cultures and backgrounds, and we can use those characters, you know. If you want to have a Latino actor be the star in your Resident Evil movie, you could just not have him play Leon S. Kennedy. I don't know. Like, I think that's okay. What about Luis from Resident Evil 4? Would have been perfect. Do a Resident Evil 4 movie. That's all. You could just call it Resident Evil whatever, Las Plagas or something like that. That one story is like its own little, like, yeah, there's umbrellas, like, you know, tangentially connected and everything, but you could like start a cinematic universe from Resident Evil 4 with prequels and blah 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 blah. Yeah, the whole thing, it didn't feel like it at all. It just felt like, what is this that we're, you know, I think I made it like a half hour in. He had just gotten to the police station and I was like, this doesn't feel like Resident Evil at all. The angry Napoleon like dude from RE4, yes. You're talking about Salazar, yes. Mr. Kennedy. I'm playing the Resident Evil 4 remake right now. Mr. Kennedy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Resident Evil 4 would be an awesome movie. Rescuing the president's daughter from an evil cult that's possessed by some sort of like alien plague. Yeah. Give me all that you got. Oh my God. What are you buying? What are you selling? Thank you. Like can I please be the merchant? Can you guys make the movie happen? Make me the merchant in Resident Evil 4. Oh, you guys Evil Within? Yeah. I had a really tough time getting into it. It does reach a point to me sometimes with the casting where I'm like, I feel like you just did it to piss people off. And it's just like, this is not the character. Like, this is not, don't call that guy Leon S. Kennedy, because it's not. You know, it's very, very obvious. You look up Leon S. Kennedy, it's very obvious. What are some other things? Not enough cash. Stranger. Now that's a whipping. You know, all that kind of stuff. Thank you. What are the other things he says? Oh my gosh. What are some of the other quotes? Give me some other quotes and I'll throw them out there. Don't get the hype behind the story. Yeah. It's very simple, you know, and I don't mind that. Like, I'm pretty cool with how simple the story is, because there are, you know, there's the Ada connection, and then there's Krauser and everything. So you do have like the Umbrella connection tangentially. But yeah, I don't mind that. I see what you're saying, T. It is very simple, the story of Resident Evil 4. But in a way, I'm like, it's like a Die Hard movie. Like, cop goes to rescue somebody in a very hotly contested situation in a very disadvantageous position. You know, it's like Resident Evil, Die Hard. Oh, with Resident Evil 4, my favorite thing is playing through where it's like my pistol is just like amazing, or I can just infinite rocket launcher the fuck out of. Like, anytime I go into a new space where I'm like, oh, I don't like the bad guys here, I just like infinite rocket launcher into the space and try to bring them all out. I will say this, I hate this in both versions of Resident Evil 4. It is my least favorite thing. I can't stand the fucking wolves, guys. I can't stand the maze in the original one, where you have to find the pieces of the medallion or whatever and put them together. I can't stand the wolves. They always jump out at the most random time. You can know exactly where the wolves are coming out from, and it still doesn't seem to fucking matter. And in the in the remake, it's even more frustrating. The wolves in that courtyard. I can't. Anytime I come to that point, even I have all the most upgraded weapons. I got my armor, everything. I can't fucking stand the dogs. I don't like it. I don't like the sounds they make. It just makes my skin crawl. It's just icky, you know? What are you buying? What are you selling? I'll buy. What is he? I'll buy it at a high price. Got some rare things on sale, stranger. Thank you. Not enough cash. That's my favorite. Now that's a whipping. Yeah, I mean the old school ones are really fun. I didn't grow up playing like Resident Evil 4 was the first Resident Evil game in the series that I actually played through. So that's why it's got, you know, for me it's very delayed, but it's also like nostalgia in a way. Oh, the fan of the franchise, the movie franchise, yeah. You know, that first movie's no good. I would say Apocalypse, the second movie, and Extinction, the third movie. Those are enjoyable. Extinction brings in some elements from like George Romero's Day of the Dead, like straight up homage in a couple scenes. And I think Apocalypse is just a really fun like action movie. Like without the, I really don't like the first Resident Evil movie. Yeah, I don't like it at all. So Swift, there is a link in the description. It should work totally fine. You have to you'll have to answer a couple questions because we had some bad actors trying to get into our space over on Discord. But I can review that and everything and get you in there. So yeah, the link in the description should work just a-okay. Yeah, I've played the 4 remake and the 2 remake, and I think what's really cool is they match the difficulty level, because even though the 2 remake kind of plays like 4, like the gameplay, it is very difficult. The Resident Evil 2 remake is, I mean, it's comparatively to 4, it's so much more difficult, you know, way more matching the difficulty of the original. Yeah. About to start my Resident Evil live action movie marathon. Nice. Only seen Welcome to Raccoon City, which I enjoyed. Hot take. Well, Apocalypse and Extinction, I hope you dig those. And man, I think Kreger's movie looks amazing so far. So looking forward to it. Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. It is, we've gone for a couple hours here. 2 hours, 8 minutes. Hell yeah. Thank you so much to everyone that threw out a super chat. Asha threw out a 10-pounder. Love seeing that from our UK crowd. Paula Fitzhenry with not 1, not 2, but 3 $5 super chats. Thank you so very much, Paula. We got Jen Werner walking in here with a $5 as well, and with another super chat of $10. Amazing. Thank you so very much for the support, guys. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for just hanging out, being cool, asking all the questions, hanging out with one another and being cool with one another. And then when stuff got not cool, having my back and having Jamie's back as well. Jamie, thank you so very much. I mean, thank you to the moderators, every single moderator. We rarely ever need to moderate too much here. You know what I mean? But when it happens, our mods are there to take care of it. And our mods are so great at jumping into the conversation and also, you know, sharing the links and just being lovely members of our community. So extra special thanks to you guys today. Shout out to the Patreon members and the YouTube channel members, of course, as well. And guys, I'll be back for channel members tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what else we're doing this week, but I am going out to my sister's on Thursday. I'm going to be hanging out with Duncan, going to be cat sitting and house sitting Thursday through like Tuesday. So we're going to get some fun at my location B. But you'll see me probably, either tomorrow night, for sure on Wednesday night, and then throughout the weekend. So thank you guys so very much for jumping in and hanging out. I really do appreciate y'all. I love you all. You all are very beautiful. Look at every single one of you lovely people over there. It's amazing. It's amazing. And if you subscribed over to Liz's channel, she's probably going to be streaming here within the next hour or so. So you should pop on over. I'll be in there hanging out, and we can kick it and make her place a little lively and crazy. How about it? Thank you all so very much again. I really do appreciate you. You guys are amazing. And until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.